All right.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Happy Tuesday, and thank you for joining us this morning. For those of you who were with us yesterday for the CARES Act webinar, welcome back. And for those who are maybe just joining us for the first time this week, it's great to see you. I'm Tanya Belter, the VP of Member Services with the Fox Cities Chamber of Commerce, and today's webinar is a part of our Stronger Together webinar series. We're excited to welcome Garrett Marcus from TopVu Media Marketing Company. He is going to talk about different ways that you can leverage your business through the use of video, which we know is super important during this time as we're all working separately out of our homes, but also wanting to engage with our clients and those around us in our community. So as always, today's session will last approximately 45 minutes. Garrett will share some different content with all of you. Feel free to ask questions through the Q&A function or also through the chat feature. We'll keep an eye on those as we work through today's webinar. And we can either address those at the time or we'll save them till the end, depending on the question, but we'll be sure to get to everybody's questions before we wrap up today. And if you've joined us before, you know that we always share the recorded version once we wrap up as well. So with that being said, I will hand it off to Garrett and we'll get started. Welcome. Good morning, Garrett.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Fox Cities Chamber webinar series. Today, I'm going to go through a variety of things that we find to be important, starting with the topic, which is leveraging video to promote your business. I'm going to just kind of run through some slides. I've decided not to have this in presentation mode because I'm going to be dropping into a couple different links I pre-opened to speed up the time on this presentation. So first and foremost, the agenda today we're going to cover is brands, brand ambassadors, some of the pre-production things that we go through and you should be going through as you become a content creator and handle a lot of your own social media posts. The quality production, some free tips and tricks that I can provide you guys information as to how to cut down your learning curve with some of the things you might want to start doing. Your internet presence, which is very important so you can be found. Cross-posting on different social sites and platforms. Following the idea that you want to have a single source of truth to increase your overall shares and make it a little bit easier to have a video one day become viral. There's a lot of content that gets put on the web today. Every day there's hundreds and hundreds of hours just put on YouTube alone. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to have those viral videos with millions and millions of views as there's more and more that get put on and people's attention spans become even shorter. Really important part of the business that you guys are going to want to consider too is reviews. And then I'm going to give you some tips as to how to start doing this today. So the first thing is, what is your brand? And you see a couple of iconic logos. If you're a Wisconsinite, you obviously recognize the Culver's brand. But your brand is going to be something that's more valuable than anything. So kind of build yourself around your brand as far as what you want it to symbolize and represent. You get very choice words. Some of these words you pull out of content that Culver's puts on their commercials or billboards and advertisements. Brand ambassadors are kind of a unique way to market your product or service. It's always easier to sell a person than a product. That's why a lot of people recognize Flo, and you don't even see insignia for Progressive, but you understand that that's who she represents. And then you can have it work for in your advantage and also against your advantage. Having guys like Paul who start as a brand ambassador for one company and then end up switching gears and working for a different one. You probably know your brand better than anybody, so it's probably the best if you develop your own awareness of your own brand ambassadorship on your own. This is more of like a celebrity endorsement that might have gone wrong. We all know what Tiger Woods had heavy endorsements with Nike and golf club manufacturers and whatnot, and everybody balances a lot in their personal and professional lives, and it sometimes takes a toll and can create bad I guess the word you really want to use is it can damage your reputation as a brand. So ultimately, you can stay away from having people endorse your brands that don't maybe fully represent what it is that you're trying to achieve, or maybe it's a little bit easier to chaperone yourself than it is somebody else you're paying to represent the face of your company. So anyways, just a couple examples of how brand ambassadorship might work better for some companies than others. Before you make any content, and that's kind of why we're having this webinar today, is I want to give you guys the ability to understand that we're all content creators, and you're going to end up fulfilling a lot of your own marketing needs internally if you have the drive. So before you make any content, you want to start with the basics of who, what, where, when, and why, so you can ultimately overcome the obstacle you have, and the obstacle is to get lead generation in at the lowest cost acquisition possible. Video is a very scalable way to do that, and we highly recommend it. So you want to think about your target, where it's going to land. Instagram has a different aspect ratio than Facebook videos. So ultimately, as you're putting your content together, you want to ensure that it's going to the right places. And ultimately, at the end of it, you need a call to action. You want it to do something for you. So in this example, we did a short 30-second ad for a coffee shop in Kaukauna, and I'll just play it real quick. Anyways, with that, with that particular example, that was ran as a Facebook marketing campaign, which ended up showing roughly 600% increase in traffic that week, and they had done a giveaway, and it ended up working pretty beneficially for them as far as getting foot traffic in their door. Another example, Terminator Pest Control Company, out of central Wisconsin area, wanted to increase their sales as well. So you can make a video. This one ended up being just over a minute. Not something you typically would run on a TV station, but definitely great content to be putting on their social media. I'll let that play real quick so you get a feel for the type of content that could be created. So again, two different pieces of content that were commercially created. However, you can go about doing content creation on your own. You don't need a video production company to do it for you. Those are just two examples of content that could be done. Another video was shot here, bringing in production value. This video, I think was posted a few weeks ago, had 27,000 views. Expert Jewelry Repair and Design was the one that posted it organically. They boosted their posts, and I think the first week it had actually peaked 27,000. We just screenshotted this just a day or two ago. So nonetheless, you can see how videos can have explosive views based on what it is you're trying to offer somebody. So always kind of build that value into what it is that you're giving them by taking a look at these basic principles that you want to incorporate into the pre-production side of things. So whether you know it or not, you are a content creator if you have a phone and if you have a computer. I highly recommend you take advantage of some of the tips and tricks I'm going to give you today that pros use. There's a program called Adobe Spark. If you guys Google it, you'll be able to get a sign in. It's free. These are all the different aspect ratios for the different social media posts that you might be concerned with. On the top of your Facebook page, I'll give Annette's as an example. This particular header up here is sized accordingly to the dimensions that you'd want. Same with Instagram for your story, Facebook stories. And then going down here, you can create different design templates if you wanted to create a proposal or have a basic web page built. There's a lot of free stuff within this Adobe Spark program. You can get images to create your posts with as well. So you don't necessarily have to take your own photos. There's a variety of things. I highly recommend getting into Adobe Spark. You can use your Google login or create a Adobe account. Adobe has a lot of great Premiere software that does cost, but Spark is going to be where you can get a lot of creative value for nothing. Some other tips to ensure that you have the best foot forward is you can make a series for yourself. I'll use Annette Hetrick, Acre Realty, as an example. She started a series called Wednesdays with Wade, her husband, who is a realtor as well, and it's a husband-wife team. And they go in and they give practical information to their following. I think they have a few hundred followers at this point. And it's something that their followers are starting to rely on Wednesdays is something to look forward to, rather, not so much rely on, but Wednesdays every week they'll release it, and then in between there, Annette has a office assistant that makes her other posts. If you don't have an office assistant, there are companies out there, ourselves included, that can assist you with creation of posts and getting them scheduled a month in advance, so you can kind of forecast what it is that your social media presence is going to be about. In this example, there's a lot of just inspirational quotes. I think some of it's based on Motivational Mondays. And then again, the other content that applies to her business, which is accepted offers and new listings and that kind of thing. So anyways, here's some other places you guys might want to check out as far as becoming a content creator. Apple has free editing software called iMovie. It comes on every iDevice. And if you don't have an Apple, GoPro has software available as well. And then this morning, power of Google, I was able to find OpenShot, which has pretty good reviews overall. This is also something, or a place that you can generate your own video content and edit stuff with different music in the background. It should work for Windows and Mac. But like I said, if you're an Apple user, you're going to be a couple of steps forward. We all use Apple products at our company, so we're much more familiar with that. But there are options out there if you're not an Apple user. Some really important facts about being found is you're basically going to rely on the power of search to be the way you get found. The best practices that we want to push to our clients and to anybody really to better themselves is Google is like the end-all be-all as far as data goes. You can link your Google account to your Bing account, and many other applications work off Google. As in the Adobe Spark login, you can sign in with your Google account. So we highly recommend you utilize Google as a method to cut down on time with creating accounts. There's a lot of websites that have that as an entry portal. But bringing yourself back to being listed, the big three are going to be Google, Bing, and Yahoo. As you can see, you can connect your Google account to your Bing, so that really frees that connection up. And after you have a Google My Business account, all the data just migrates over. But I would highly recommend getting on all three of those search platforms. And then the big ones you're going to want to utilize for social are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then going back to Google, your Google My Business page. get verified, get all your information up on there, and then utilize Google as a social site. There's apps on your phone that you can manage and post from. We utilize software to cross post, really cuts down on the amount of time. So for instance, I have 3 Facebook pages for each division of the company. There's a media, mapping, and a marketing section. So if I wanted to make a post to all 3 of them and get information out, we can get into a dashboard, uh, either put an image up, video, we can type text. I'll give you the example. We do 3D tours. So I can link the 3D tour to 3 Facebook accounts, my Google My Business, Instagram, my personal and business LinkedIn page, and my Twitter. And that might seem a little bit excessive if you had to go through and individually make posts on each one. That's what these dashboards are designed to do, is cut down on the amount of time that you spend making the posts. It makes life a lot more efficient. Noticing at the bottom, Google My Business also has an option for a call to action. And as Google develops, they make a lot of changes throughout the year. One of the things that you're going to always want to do is be interactive with Google. Anytime that they have a change or an algorithm update, you're going to want to take full advantage of that. Update your business information with your hours, any new procedures that they have. These call to actions are a big thing, so we can always set those up if you have a Google My Business account to get customers engaged, whether it's a shop now and it linking back to your website where you have a shopping cart possibly. But more or less, you want to make sure that when you have a website and social, that you can have your customers verify who you are on either. A lot of times they'll land on Google, find your website, they'll be on your website browsing around, and then they'll come back to your social to check that out, almost to verify or to validate you as a company. Any customer that you're gonna, yes.
Quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Paul was wondering, the screen that you were on prior, where you were talking about doing the multiple posts to multiple different platforms.
Yes.
He said, what is the name of the program that you're talking about? What program is that where you can post to your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, everything like in one spot?
Well, this is a program that we sell. It's called Social Marketing. It's a proprietary thing that we lease out $30 a month. So if you load it up with as many accounts as you have, it ends up just being 20, 30 cents a day to post to each of them and to be able to cross post. So this is just something that we actually offer in-house and we can get out to people. The only downside is it only allows you to link one Google My Business page. So, but you can link as many of these other accounts as you want. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep. And just so you know, Tanya, I don't have a chat window up on my screen. So yeah, if anybody else reaches out in a question, just please interrupt me and I'll answer it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. So anyways, where we want to see the majority of our efforts probably initially is at the top of the sales funnel, and that's awareness. With this client in particular in our tracking software, we ran a campaign for a year just to get them a baseline as to where they stood. Before we started implementing the changes that we wanted, I think it was around September that we had the initial sale of a website to them, and we started putting things into practice as their assistant became more and more available and accessible to make their own content. The social engagement skyrocketed. And this was around the time that they started doing in-house filming and created a series. So this is very, very helpful information to have when you're making the decision about what you're going to do with your time. As a result, in say the real estate industry, networking is how you get your next lead. It might not be the best way for a coffee shop owner to spend their time, but that's why the power of video is so scalable. And that's why all these social media platforms and the cross posting is inevitably the best way to get found. And with that, SEO gets built, and you've probably heard a lot of people talk about SEO over the years, but the truth is that original single source of information, single source of truth is how we want to connect things. and get you as many views organically as possible in the shares. And because of that, um, it ends up creating more of an SEO presence and impact as you back out the last couple thousand pages of Google. The more you continuously post, you're going to advance your ranking, especially the more keywords you put into the topic. So if you create a post and it's on Facebook, it's great that you put a video up, but it's a lot better when you put content and tag people in it and then get them to share it. And even if it's a business next door to the business you're at, they have their own Facebook presence and following. So sometimes it pays to connect with other business owners locally, and that's what the chamber does. Is we're allowed to connect with each other. So when video content gets made, when you can draw in other brands and connect them, it really benefits the boosting and in the awareness part of getting more followers. Which ultimately, the more followers you have, the less you're going to have to spend to get that organic reach. You're going to have more people see your stuff, just like on Facebook. You have your friends and you scroll through their news feed. Same thing with businesses that you follow. So we want to get as many people following you as possible and keep your cost to acquire them as low as possible. Some other things that going back to best practices, and we're kind of going through here. These are other places that you're going to want to find yourself listed as much as possible. Directories, maps, and GPS systems. So here's a list of ones that we can ensure you get listed on. And a lot of them you're going to say, hey, I've never heard of these. And that might be true, but there's others that you have. And the truth is somebody, for a reason or another, created a directory and it gets utilized. And the internet provides a place for people to put information. And the people that decide to put the information out there are either using it for their benefit or possibly to sell it or to build out the SEO side of a business. So the more connections and links you have and your information gets shared with all these different directories and locations, you're going to be a lot better off filling up more space on Google. And everybody wants to land on that first page. And that's very possible to change positions with people. Google will rank you in one of 3 or 4 ways to get you on there. You'll either be an ad, which is at the very top, highest paying, which is click advertisement, which is highly effective. And then there's SEO, which is a long-term process and commitment, but it's a great way to ensure you're going to find yourself on the first, second, and third pages of Google. The more information you put on your website and social media, the better. And then there's these data aggregators that push your information across the web to these different platforms. So in order to have the most visibility, you want to be on all these directories, even though you've never heard of them. It fills up backend data, which is all SEO at the end of the day, getting you better ranking. So GPS maps, there's a lot of, and I'm not sure if I have it on this one, but like Ford, GM, BMW, all the major manufacturers, we have the ability to get you in their car GPSs as well. Moving along, when it comes to any type of marketing, obviously video is the most scalable and easily to share at the least expense, as it gets viewed by every additional person. Your cost of view drops. So over the long run, you want to track that. Well, same thing if you're going to do a Google campaign, you kind of want to see a baseline as to where you're at. So we ran numbers on a couple different clients. I believe these are different. So again, a year out, there might have been 286,000 searches, which landed that customer on that first page of Google. So there was an opportunity of 285,000 people that would have seen their business from keyword searches that brought them there. Out of that, they looked like they had about 2,500 website visits from the keywords that were implemented. And then taking it a step further, the phone calls that came from that particular time and search turned into 2,744, and then 1,105 people requested directions. So again, over here, Google gives you a lot of insight. You just got to hunt for it. If you go in and look for it, you'll find it. We do have dashboards that are meant to help you see everything in one place. Reputation management is what we call it. Gives you the ability to see your Facebook stats more or less make it a little bit easier for you to understand what everything means. And then you can plug your competition in here and keep an eye on them as well, with the amount of posts they do versus yourself. More or less, we have the ability to help you understand where you are as an individual company and where you are on the spectrum of being graded on a curve amongst the industry. So if you are interested in figuring out where you guys stand, we can run a free report on you guys just to give you some helpful insight as to where you might want to focus your energy and your direction, as time is limited. And that's what we really love about the cross-posting software, is you can go in and make posts for an entire month and make sure it hits all the places you want it to be. So anyways, getting back to some more statistics and data, again, out of the 12,794 customer views, if you look at the majority of them were map searches. This particular client was in retail. So this retail store is going to have a lot more foot traffic than, say, a realtor office. So those you might see a spike in actual phone call numbers. Kind of, again, all this information is on Google's site, but you have to hunt for it. Some of the best practices, I guess, going down the line is reviews. Everybody wants to ensure that they have a healthy balance of customers coming in, but you really need to sell new customers and repeat customers that you're the right choice to go with. So by having a healthy review base and a consistent base, it's going to do two things. It's going to provide a good flow of traffic and information to Google that you guys are relevant. Customers are still utilizing you. There's that sense that when a review gets left, if it's negative, it shouldn't necessarily impact your entire business. Maybe there was an employee that's having a bad day, or there is a unusual set of circumstances. Because of COVID-19, I know Google had kind of like postponed some of the review functionality. I think that's probably coming to an end now and is going to go back to normal if it hasn't already. But more or less, you want to get out there and make sure that your customers know that you appreciate their reviews, because word of mouth is the best referral. That's the cheapest marketing you guys can invest in, is having the right employees and independent contractors pushing your true agenda as a business owner, or as a manager. And you can do that by ensuring that good reviews are getting put online. If you have a poor review sitting out there from 3 years ago, there's a couple ways you can handle that. You can reach out to the client and offer them to come back in and try your service and try and get them to repost a better review, or you can bury it. So I think a large portion of a strategy, if you do have poor reviews or low amount of reviews, is to go in and find the review tab and push those. And if, again, it's time is of the essence and it's difficult to do that, you can buy review packages where you can SMS to their cell phones, or you can also send it via email. And then we can redirect the reviews where you want them. There's a lot of listing entities out there, from Google, Facebook, Glassdoor, if you're hiring people, if you're in car sales, Car Guru. If you're a realtor, you might find reviews on Zillow or Realtor.com. You can set up the place you want the reviews to go based on who you are in your industry, which kind of leads me to the next slide. That you guys all need to understand that every brand is unique. Everybody has different goals, and there's not one size that fits all. But I believe to get a solid foundation and base going forward, you need to align your business image and brand with your social media posting and platform, and ensure that there's as much cross posting going on, really pushing the corporate culture that you have. You want to take the best foot forward and get that representation as to who the people that own or manage what their philosophies are, and ensure that translation takes place through social media. Every time you have to make an update to a website, you might not have the ability. That's why social media is so great. It's like the ability to update and make everything current that you want people to know about events you're going to go to. So one of the biggest things that are recaps of this is being found first, and being out there and being available to be found and talked to is like the difference between making the sale and not. And then ultimately, as we become uh, content creators, or you hire a production company to make a set of commercials or do an interview, um, ultimately you're a storyteller, and you want to always keep that idea that when you sit down to a movie, the reason you continue to watch the movie is because you're intrigued, or there's some reason behind wanting to watch it. And that's why films are so successful. That's why James Cameron spent $200 million in the '90s to film Titanic. He had that captive audience, and it netted him $2 billion. So there's a lot of scalability that comes within video creation and in even photography. You take a couple of great photos, and you edit them or color correct them, and they can go viral. It's more or less about the capturing what you capture and getting that shared and exposed. And if it's good content, people are going to gravitate towards it. Some people find themselves bored with what's going on with COVID, and others are busier than ever. Having children at home full time, that is an incredible commitment that before COVID, a lot of business owners and parents and uh, didn't ever have to really deal with, because the school system took their kids for 7 hours a day. So now it's probably going to be even more crucial than ever. The population that has to work from home till we get through this um, utilizes the tools in front of them and makes the most out of it. The expectation of sales staying the same or increasing is likely there from our the owners of companies, and it's your expectation that you would grow. So one of the simplest ways you can do that is get engaged, and have that engagement with your following, build your following, so you have a lower cost of acquisition when you guys have new products you're going to roll out or a new service. Utilize social media as an opportunity to update people, just the way you kind of maybe gone in every year or two and put new content on your website, updating people of their services and that kind of thing. Use social media for that, and make a plan. Make a plan as to a year out, 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years out where you want to be. If growing your following is really important, then find a way to get that engagement and possibly have a giveaway to join. In an example, you could get if you're a car dealership and you wanted to build your following, you might do a giveaway where you tag yourself and two other people that need oil changes for a year, and just like that, you start building your following, because they have to like and follow you to be entered. So there's a couple of different options that you can do depending on the type of business. If you wanted to run anything by us at TopVu, be more than happy to consult and give everybody an opportunity to have me help them in any way that they need. But ultimately, you need to stay relevant, ensure that your contact information is square across the internet, and make sure all the platforms are up to date. So if they go to a listing on Facebook, your hours are going to match the listing hours on Google. And there hasn't been any internal changes. And posting, you want to get your fresh content up on Google My Business. And if you don't have a Google My Business account, I recommend you start there. You need to be able to be found on the web. And then furthermore, investing in the type of creative content that's going to get you in a better position with ROIs that make sense to do video marketing or to create your own content with an in-house employee. Those are all things that you're going to want to have set up for a base ahead of time. If you're not set up to do posting, I highly recommend you take a look at what it would take to get your information on the web. There are ways to do it efficiently. There's software that can be purchased if you want to just ensure that you're across the web with the right phone numbers, addresses. Maybe you're in a business that has switched locations, and you're like, gee, we're still over on Mason Street, and our new building's over here on Appleton Street. Whatever the case, just ensure that you can be found and you can be contacted. So I guess my closing words are to get out there and create, post, and grow your business. And from there, if you have any questions or want more specifics as a plan as to how to do that, or want any more information about free software or how to access that, or possibly cross-posting software or listing building software, just please reach out to us, topvumedia.com, or you can connect through the chamber portal and you can find our business listed there. Tanya, you there?
Yep, I am here. So that was awesome. Garrett, thank you so much for all of that information. It's always interesting to see, especially what some of the free resources are out there for businesses to start utilizing. So again, thank you for sharing, all of that. We appreciate it. And I'm going to keep it open here just for Q&A or questions that may come up in the next couple of minutes. But as Garrett noted, if you do have any questions about any of the topics that he's covered today, please feel free to reach out to him directly, or you can contact him through the chamber. Once we wrap up, we will get the recorded version out to everybody for today's session, which will include Garrett's contact info as well. And feel free to share the recorded version with other colleagues that you think may find it of benefit. And you can also find that on our website at foxcitieschamber.com. So just as a reminder, for the rest of this week, tomorrow we have our chamber chat happening at 11 a.m. with the new Appleton Mayor, Jake Woodford. So we're excited to have him join us for some Q&A about the future of the city. And then on Thursday, we have the 411 on COVID-19. So that'll be with some medical health professionals and public health professionals that can answer questions about the COVID virus itself and kind of fact versus fiction, and let everybody know the details of what's happening within the community. So with that being said, I don't see any questions that have popped up. So I think you did a great job of covering everything, Garrett. We appreciate that. So everybody will get a little bit more time back in their day. So we're going to wrap up this morning. So thanks again, Garrett, for being here. We appreciate it. And thanks for everybody who tuned in. We look forward to seeing you at future webinars. And again, all information can be found at foxcitieschamber.com. Oh, hold on. Wait. Thank you. Jamie said thank you. So sounds like people are appreciative of all the information today. And again, we thank you for your time. I know everybody's super busy. So thanks for tuning in.
All right. Thank you.